Hello, everybody. I'm here, and it's kind of unplanned because, as you've seen, my thumbnail changed last minute because I spoke to Turku like an hour ago. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I really apologize if I don't. And I heard her story, and I thought we should talk about here in my channel. But before that, hi, I'm back. I'm back in Israel, and I landed. I landed the moment, basically the same time when they announced the results of Eurovision, and of course the Houthis, as they do, they are like big fans of Eurovision because I mean, look at them. And the moment the results were announced, the Arabs, like in Israel, like they shoot in the air when they're happy. They were super happy for the great results Israel showed in Eurovision, and they shot a missile. And I heard this siren when I was in the airplane.
Really?
Yes, I got to see Eurovision results when I landed and a siren from the Houthis. And that's my landing story. And of course, today there is a lot going on in Gaza, operations starting like real serious, and Sinwar, all the brothers are gone. We got the complete series. And I think I'll try to go back to that, but I really want to share and explain why I'm here with Turko now. So what happened was that actually, I'll be honest, for some reason, I had a feeling I need to text you.
Oh, thank you.
Right, so I was like, I had a feeling I was scrolling through and I saw your name and I was like, I feel like I should check that if you're okay. And I texted you, and this is when we actually learned that things are a bit complicated. Do you want to share yourself what's going on exactly? And I'm going to be honest with you all. I heard your story and I kind of want everybody's opinion on what we can do to help you. But first, I think we should understand what's going on.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so I'm Turkey. I'm from Turkey. I was born and raised there, and I'm coming from a Muslim family. And for my university education, I chose Israel because of the great universities, and also, Israel was quite popular in Turkey, and I just wanted to see the story from Israel's side, and I just wanted to be Middle Eastern expert. It was my dream since I was a kid, and Israel was just a perfect place to study Middle Eastern, and then I just came here, and then I saw a really different Israel than that was shown to us in Turkey, and afterwards, actually, my dream was to be in sports media. I was like, because my parents are involved politics, and like after seeing the politics in Israel and Turkey, I was like, I want to do something fun for my life. I'm just gonna go for sports. But on October 7th, after living in October 7th with Israelis, and after everything that I saw on television and how world reacted that was going on, I was just like, no, I cannot do anything rather than Middle East, and rather than telling the truth about Middle East, telling the truth what's really going on, because it's not just for Israel, it's also sake of my country and sake of for Middle East. And also, like October 7th, it was something really something traumatized for me. And that day I told myself that this is the war that everyone is going to support Israel after everything we saw. And the day, even before Israel responded, the things I saw in news, Turkish news, and like in general in the world, it's quite shocking for me. Because first they were like actually celebrating the resisting, or like, the war. And then when Israel respond, when they start losing, now they don't like war, like all of a sudden. And it was just like quite interesting for me to living in it, and I just wanted to tell. And I saw how this radicalized my country. I come from a secular country, and I believe secularism, and I believe the constitution should be separate from religion, especially in my country. And so after I saw that, I had to speak. I just felt the necessary. I just felt the uh, that necessary of speaking, and then I just started making some videos. Actually, I was doing it in English because I didn't want to really be target of Turkish audience in the first place, because I'm just a girl, you know, I don't have anyone behind me. I'm just a student that tries to be a journalist, and I know if I will take Turkish audience as my target audience, I'm gonna be the target. I'm gonna be in not really good place. So also, like, I felt like world needs to hear Israel from someone like me, some one from Turkey, from a Muslim family, and like, so I started doing my videos in English, and somehow Turkish media heard about it. And then 2 weeks ago, I was just sitting in my room, and then I get a notification from everyone that you're on the you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're everywhere. So they just made a new about me that says Turkish girl rented her heart and soul to Zionists, and everything I say lie, you know, as if I'm a spy, or I get paid from Israel, and it's just I'm a bad person. And like some people, they really like complain about made complaints about me, and they ask to revoke my citizenship, and they claim that I'm Jewish, which is I could be Jewish, but I'm not. But like, even though when I said that, like, I'm completely 100% Turkish. Even if you go like 500 years back from my family, you can only see Turkish blood. But they were like, no, if you don't think like us, you're not Turkish. You need to be canceled from Turkey. You need to just. And then I just start getting these like gang rapes and like beheading messages. Like I cannot even imagine. Like, they just start writing me stuff that is fantasize how to kill me or how to rape me. And yeah, it was like quite shocking for me, and like for 2 weeks I'm struggling with that. And now I don't have another citizenship. Like, I'm from Turkey, and I want to go and see my family. I couldn't see them for a long time, and because of the situation in Turkey, like the embassy of Israel is closed there, they cannot come and see me. And now I'm afraid to go back, because it can be something about me. They can have arrest warrants, or like they can question me. And it's just, you know, like, it's a whole story. It's just, long story short, I'm just
Yeah.
really in shock.
I just want to ask one thing. Where were you October 7th, actually?
I was
Physically?
in Jerusalem
You
in
were in
this week.
Jerusalem. So you were already studying. Okay, so your
Yeah,
stories, I want to recap it.
yeah,
So here's the thing. You came here because you want to be a journalist and you were interested in the Middle East to see what's going
yeah,
on here. So you wanted to actually just report the truth, and October 7th shocked you because of its brutality, and you saw what we all saw, those who chose to see what is happening, because they broadcasted it, they were proud, so those who wanted to see could see. And at that point, you were shocked because you saw that it's being celebrated in Turkey and
yeah,
not scrutinized. And
yeah.
this
It's
is,
a newspaper that made a news about me. They were
yeah.
actually like celebrating the resistance.
So it's fascinating. All right, so that's the background basically, and you started just saying in English, not in Turkish actually, making
Yeah,
videos to a rather, you say, like relatively small audience.
yeah.
I my guess is like ever since you've been outed, maybe it grew. So did it grow, by the way? Because I guess people would go check out your. Oh, it's
Yeah,
about the
like
same.
usually Turkish people, they don't like prefer to follow me. They just prefer to make bad comments.
All right.
So not really, actually. maybe I gained like 300 followers. Like,
And where is your what is your main platform?
Instagram.
All right, so we need to add the handle. Want to send me the handle real quick, and then I'll post it in the comments for people to follow, and I'll pin
Yeah,
it. So
sure.
guys, go
From us.
follow Turco on Instagram, and yeah, and I'll take it from here for a sec. Just recap what we were saying. So Turco came to Israel to study because she wants to be a journalist. She wants to write about the Middle East, and she came here, and she is a student in Jerusalem. When October 7th happened, she was shocked by the brutality, but she was also shocked by the way it's been portrayed by the media and the way it's been actually celebrated in her home country, Turkey. And Turco comes from a Muslim family, and this is a very interesting thing to me. It's like you came here physically to see the truth and what's going on in reality, on the ground. And ever since October 7th, she started speaking and saying just, relatively, if I'm not mistaken, relatively straightforward facts. Just even saying things like, it is the Iron Dome that protects Al-Aqsa. Because obviously
Yeah,
their aim is they would have hit Al-Aqsa by now if it wasn't for the Iron Dome. But even saying that, even just saying those rather simple things about the reality on the ground, making it a bit more approachable, trying to bridge the gaps between the countries, had resulted in the Turkish TV making a article, a news, like how is it, like about you, and there they accused you of being a spy and being paid by the Israeli government to go against Turkey and represent Israel. And ever since that had happened, first of all, from what you've told me privately, people came. There isn't an official arrest warrant, but people came and advised you to not come back to Turkey, right?
yeah.
People
Yeah.
from the police came to your parents and told them it's better she stays away. The other thing that happened is, of course, there was a backlash, societal backlash. So you have you didn't really touch on how your family and friends reacted, but there is, of course, a reaction. So that's your
Yeah.
choice if you want to share that in a minute. And what's happening right now? So she's in Israel. She doesn't know if she can go back. There is no connection right now between the Israeli government and the Turkish government, and there is no way to protect her, and she's been getting a lot of threats. And I think also your family and extended family members are also been getting arrested in all kind of ways because of that portrayal of what you're doing in the Turkish media.
Yeah, like first of all, like some of our family members, like my aunt and like other relatives, they had like some harsh comments to my mom, and like they actually like cut the relations between us because there was like, it's really shame what Turkey does, how we saw her in the news. And my mom, thank God, like she's amazing. She just protected me and she just defended me, and she was uh, she was just like amazing. But like also I'm actually also like sad that I put them in that position. Like they had to like argue with their family members or their friends. Sometimes they because they also like they are secular, but they have really left-wing friends, and it can be hard for them to explain themselves because there is some stereotypes that is really hard to change. And so yeah, it was like hard for our relations with friends and family members. But also my parents also get like some threats, and they got some messages, and I was actually like worried that they were also gonna like be questioned because we saw like other Turkish, but they're Jewish people who did army or who's in Israel actually like questioned like why you are in Israel, why you posted a picture with Israeli flag. And so right now it's just like we just keep it calm. And yeah, it's just now it's, and they are living in really secular place, like we don't really have Islamists or like someone to attack them, and so they're now safe. They're actually worried about me, or they don't really tell me something so I won't get worried. I'm not sure. But my mom, she works in opposition party, main opposition party, and
Mm.
they were like so supportive. They were like it's a freedom of speech. Like of course she can see, she has right to say what she does see. I see that Iron Dome protects Alexa. So why would I get in trouble because I say that? So even though main opposition party is not like pro-Israel or support Israel, they were like, "Don't worry, we are after her case," and so they were also like supportive. I also get a call, and so yeah,
Yeah. And how are your friends? How did they react to that?
it's just like okay. Some of my friends they just like made jokes about it to make me loud,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them like really unfollow me or they don't like talk to me anymore. And I lost so many friends since the war started. Even before I start doing these videos, like there, I had some friends, and I was like traumatized after October 7th. I'm just sitting in my room. I don't even like publish anything, and they were just sending me videos of like Palestinian babies or something, and they were like, "Are you happy with that?" And I'm just like I don't do anything. Like, what do you mean? And I get so many messages like that. Like I don't know, just to be in Israel was like a crime, and
Mm-hmm.
and like even now when I go back to Turkey, I don't know how my friendships are gonna be because I know like they're gonna see me like as a girl that is changed, or they're not gonna really like talk to me, or they're gonna be afraid that if they're gonna be in touch with me, they also gonna be in trouble.
So I'm gonna out you for a second because there is another thing that you did was unforgivable, and that was to criticize Erdogan, right?
Sorry.
I heard there was another thing that you did that was unforgivable, which is criticizing Erdogan.
Yes, yes. Because now Ekrem İmamoğlu, I think you know him. He's in prison, and I supported him, and I gave speeches against Erdogan. I said like it's really against democracy what he did, and because of that, they also wrote like I'm a typical opposition, and of course like I don't support Erdogan because I'm in Israel, and yeah, of course it's like it was also a big headline that my sport Imamoglu and my speeches against Erdogan.
All right. So now you're here in Israel. You are unsure about what you should do in your future. So I kind of want to hear like how we can help you and what do you want to do and what's your goal in the future and what's your dream, and maybe we can help you with that.
Thank you so much. Actually, lots of people asking me that, but I don't have specific answer how to help because like here, even though they wrote that I'm spy or what I get paid from Israel, I'm like really struggling like financially with paying my school, paying my dorms. I just want to like graduate and be a really good journalist. This is my biggest dream, and I just want to be expert on Middle East, and I just want to be one of the reasons that is going to change something in Middle East for the women in Middle East, for kids in Middle East, and I just want to tell my opinions. This is all I want. But right now, the situation I'm in, I cannot. I I'm afraid to see my family, and they cannot come and see me. And I am. I love Israel so much, but I'm alone here. I'm just a lone girl that is studying, and it's really struggling for me, and I cannot work because I'm on student visa, and it's just like all I have is my voice, and I just want to keep using my voice. And I don't know, like I think I just need platforms to tell what I think, and that's it. Like I really don't have specific answer for help, but like people are already helping me. Like today I get so many calls, including you, even like this, that it helps me so much.
I'm so happy to hear that, but let's do that. You know what? You want to be a journalist?
Yes.
All right. So
Yes.
what do you let's talk about it. You want to?
Yes, it's like my biggest dream.
How much do you follow everything that's happening right now?
Like lately, after everything happened last 2 weeks, actually I was not in good shape, and I even had days that I slept 30 hours, 24 hours because of the anxiety I have, or like depression I had. So lately I couldn't follow too much, but like normally I only like read news. I only watch the TV commentaries I like, or I only like read and listen like normally. But last 2 weeks I couldn't follow too much, but normally it's all of my life.
And okay, so you want to talk about Turkey as a journalist.
Yeah.
Explain what's going on.
Oh,
Obviously, you had
a
suffered the
lot going on.
consequences.
Sorry.
I think you have suffered the consequences of whatever is going on in Turkey.
Of course,
But
everyone.
but some time ago there were those big demonstrations, and I feel like now there is not even a squeak about what's going on in Turkey.
Actually,
What's going
there's
on?
gonna be a huge one tomorrow, because tomorrow
Okay.
is a national day, and also it's also known as Atatürk's birthday, and the day that Atatürk started the fight. So tomorrow, opposition parties are planning a huge protest. So we will see tomorrow. But after Imamoğlu got arrested, it was just like a huge step to democracy in Turkey. And also, you cannot just, you will never see Erdogan cancel elections, Erdogan cancel democracy in Turkey in constitution, because people in Turkey, they want they want democracy. They want democracy. They want to go vote, but what you can see is this: he can just eliminate his rivals. He can present students, journalists, and you can see that there is a democracy. People are having election, but there's only Erdogan to vote, and so it was a big step from Erdogan, but also we saw that it was coming, because he was like talking about Imamoğlu like constantly, and also the Kurdish community in Turkey, they are like strong. Like we see them front lines in every protest, but in this protest you don't see Kurdish organizations, because he made some deal with them, and even like before Imamoğlu got arrested, they were talking about the PKK's had to be in the parliament, and like all these crazy things that I would never think I'm gonna hear, and now
For
we
the
don't.
record, the PKK are
What?
really a terrorist group.
Yeah, like America recognized them as a terrorist group. Also Israel, also me and myself, and
Also, I want to say something about that specifically to put things like to explain, okay? I have a good Kurdish journalist friend she's from Kurdistan, northern Iraq, And I talked to her sometimes, and she had stepped away from journalism. But one of the things she told me, that when she was trying to do her work, actually journalist work, about what's happening with the Kurds, the groups like the PKK would on purpose position her in a place where they think the Turks would bomb, so that they would have, it's a very familiar tactic for those who know, so that they would have a headline in the news saying that they bombed and killed a journalist. And she really did not really at all appreciate it. And she's 100% against whatever Turkey is doing in Kurdistan. They've been bombed for the last several years. There are constant bombardments in Kurdistan. I mean, I'm right now, like, it's not on my mind, but obviously, like, you know, all the northern cities by the Iranians, but I think also by the Turks anyway. So they get abused by everybody, the Kurds, and yet, she says that groups like the PKK are terrorists.
Yes, like you made a good point, because I don't understand, like Turkish government and like Turkey itself is fighting with terror organization for like 40 years that has like similar speeches or justification for their actions as Hamas or other Palestinian organizations, and still we can understand what Israel is trying to do.
Yeah,
like we actually fighting with something similar. Okay, they're not Islamists, they're like more left-wing organization.
No, they're communists.
Yeah, they're communists, but still their justification for their actions, the way they do it, it's sometimes really similar to me. And also the fight, night fight response from Turkey is actually similar what Israel's response sometimes.
I mean, it depends. Like, I disagree, because I think Turkey is stepping way out of line. And I also feel like Turkey is in a certain way, like the way they do it, they intentionally strengthen groups like the PKK as well, because like they are not loved by the Kurds themselves, right? There are plenty of other Kurdish movements who don't agree with the PKK either.
Because Kurdish people, they can actually like have political right in Turkey, and most of people choose that way. They don't choose like other way, like more terror organization way. They choose to be in parliament, and they choose to fight in political arena. But yeah, I really don't want to like go into that place.
Why not? Like, you're trying to prove your journalistic skills, right? And here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you, as a Turkish woman, okay, as a Turkish lady, there isn't a lot of information coming out of this area. It's very well controlled. Getting information about what's happening in the Kurdistan or even Rojava, or just all those areas. And by the way, there are several Kurdish groups and different languages as well. And it's complex. It's not easy. There are parties like the PKK. It doesn't mean that they are controlling everywhere. And it's not always that when Turkey fights the Kurds that they actually fight a group like the PKK. Sometimes they have also expansionist agenda
with each other. Like as you say, in one of the difference between Turkey and Israel, in Israel we can like know everything that IDF does. It's like on the news, even if it's bad, even if it's good, the people knows all the time. But in Turkey, like, we don't really know where is Turkish army, where they fight, or sometimes our soldiers are falling and they're just on the news for like 2 seconds or 3 seconds. And when I was kid, it was different. The We were talking about it much and we knew more. But now, as you say, we don't really get information from there, especially like Turkish people. Like, I I love my country and I love my army. But to be honest, even though I search and like I read, I don't get like many information. Even now about this agreement between PKK and government, like even like parliament members, they don't know a lot. Like they don't know what's going on, why we did this agreement, what we gave to them for this agreement, what did they give to us. We just know there is an agreement that Ardan makes propaganda out of it that says like, oh, I ended PKK. And okay, but how? And like, what's gonna happen now? Or did you really ended it? Because uh, if there's gonna be a state, like official state, as Kurdistan in Syria right now, they don't really need PKK anymore because they're gonna have real army. So is it really a victory for Turkey or not? Like, literally, if I go to Turkish websites right now, I cannot get like enough information out of it. I will just like see propaganda from Erdogan's side, or I will get some criticism from opposition, but lack of information, like, so, like, I agree with you. Like, we don't really get information, like even like Turkish people. Like, I really want to make everything to be clear about our fight with terror and like what's going on. And yeah, like, the reason I told you that I don't really want to go into this, because in Turkey, like, criticizing army is like something really sensitive and like something that you should be really careful. And when you say something, you need to have like good background and like, otherwise you can really be in trouble to criticize army. But like, as I told you, like, I really don't know, like, um, so this is why I didn't want to really go into that without like having a good research and something really like.
No, you don't have to. Just hearing like what the situation is like, how hard it is to understand. Here, somebody in the comments is writing that there were Turkish soldiers spotted in Kashmir, and we also know that there is the whole thing in Libya.
Yeah, of course.
So what's going on? Libya, Syria, Kashmir. What's going on? Where is Turkey? What's the plan? Where are they going? I mean,
Exactly. Like, you're 100% right. Like, I'm a Turkish, and like we need to know. And like, even like in Turkey, really nationalities people, they doesn't know. If you ask them like what Turkey is doing in Libya, or is Turkey in Libya, they wouldn't know. They would just like support that Turkey is in Libya. If army is there, maybe it's right. Uh, but like, it's if we, like, this is the thing I don't understand. Erdogan goes on TV and says, "Oh, we are in we are in Libya, we are in um, Syria, we are in Kashmir, we're gonna be in Jerusalem too." This is what he says. He threats Israel. So in this case, aren't we like threat other countries with occupying them, sending our armies? This is what we claim Israel does, actually. But like, really, I don't see the logic here.
well, it's easy. You want to eliminate the competition.
Maybe.
Interesting. So you're saying that you, as like Turkish citizens, So what brought you to journalism? It sounds like it's a very difficult job in Turkey.
Of course it is, you know, like even when I talk, I think like twice what to say. And we have like hundreds of journalists in jail. But I'm telling you, media has amazing power and amazing responsibility to um, keep democracy on, to keep ethical um, morals in the country. Like if we still have Erdogan in our country over 20 years, one of the reasons is media, because media didn't do their job. They couldn't inform the people enough, and they're all, most of them, controlled by the government, or they fear from government. So and so someone like needs to say something about it. And also my family, they're really into politics, and my we were always in protest, and my father was constantly in protest, individually or with the organizations. So I pretty much grew up in this. So like I actually appreciate it. I love researching and I love debating with people, but it has like a high price if you do it in Turkey. Like you need to think like 5 times, 10 times, because I might actually not be able to see my family, you know. And it's really hard for me, even though I love Israel. I'm lonely. I don't have family, and why would I not see my family because I say my opinions? It's just, and if I don't do that, who's gonna do that?
Why did you decide to study in Israel specifically? Because, okay, so you saw what was happening on October 7th and you didn't like it. But did you have any opinion on what's going on here before?
Yeah, okay. So actually, when I grew up, my parents, they're like left, and they were actually more pro-Palestinian. And even I have like a newspaper from 2009 that is shown my father in protest for Palestine and Palestinian kids, and he has a whole speech about it. And so, but after I went to university, and after, like in meantime that we saw what's going on in Turkey, like I saw that it's actually a really good tool for Islamists, because you can use Palestine, the word Palestine, and make people do everything you want. Like actually wanna like control what you wanna say, which cafe you wanna sit, and everything, where you gonna boycott. So I was like, there's uh, so many things involving my life, and they told us the opposite. They told us Israel is going to control your life and Israel is going to have the power in your country and anything, but I don't see Israel any part of my private life. And also, seeing the news, there's constantly talking about Israel and Palestine, and Israel is the bad guy. It just makes you wonder, like, what's the story from Israel's side? Like, how can one side can be that evil for 8 years? And just wanted to see it. And then I actually like start searching about Israel, like searching about story from Israel side. I googled Israeli newspapers, Israeli influencers, and I start searching them, and it just made sense, you know, after seeing the story from Israeli side. And I said I want to go there, and I just want to hear more and see more. And yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
Were your parents not afraid that you'd go there?
My mom was so afraid. Still, she's terrifying. And but my father was like actually excited to send me, because it's a really good university, Hebrew University. And actually he really encouraged me. Even right now, after everything that happened, he just like makes jokes every day. He's like, "You're a celebrity now," and and and he says like, I was like so afraid in the first place, and he was like, "You have no right to be afraid because people in your age in Turkey going out and protesting, even though they know they're gonna arrest it, they're fighting for their life, and you're in Israel. You know nothing is gonna happen to you, and still you're afraid. It's not fair."
Yeah, I actually want to ask, like, um, so you study, what do you study exactly? Journalism or,
Journalism and political science.
and and you studied in Turkey as well, right?
Yes. I studied in Istanbul University for 3 years, and then I came here.
And what
Like
did you
it was
study
like
in Turkey?
last year. I said tourism management.
Tourism management? Prison
Yes,
management.
tourism.
Prison?
Yeah,
What's prison?
tourism.
Tourism. Okay, tourism. Okay. Okay. So very different, actually.
No, in the first, when I was 18, I wanted to study political science. But then they told me, and you're not gonna find a job. In Turkey, when you choose your university degree, you think about the job. And we live in a place that is the only thing you can do is tourism. So it was really easy to find job for me. So this is what I chose. I studied in Istanbul for 3 years.
And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go study what in
No,
Jerusalem.
it was then I was like, I want to study something else, and I didn't like to study in Istanbul. I just couldn't do it, and I couldn't like really make friends, or I couldn't really enjoy my studies. And in my family, education is something so important. And then I said I want to study in abroad, and I chose Israel.
And how is the education? What year are you in?
Sorry.
How is it? Do you feel like you can do journalism now?
No, I cannot even do in from Israel.
No, why?
Because I'm scared to get arrest warrant. Like you can do it, but it's dangerous. You have to think 5 times what to say. Even one word you use by accident can make you go in jail.
In
Um,
Turkey, for those who just popped in, not in Israel.
no, not in Israel.
Okay,
In
but
Turkey.
what about the like how to do it? Is it good, the education?
Uh, when when I grew up, I can say it was really nice because we still have secular constitution. We are a country that is secular in
No, I mean
constitution.
here in Jerusalem. You study political
Ah,
science.
it's amazing. I love my teachers and I love my school, and they really understand. Like like sometimes there are really specific differences that is like shocking me. Like if I have some like mental issues or my situation is not going well, I can just call the school and uh, tell my story, and they just help me right away. Sometimes they just send me psychologists for like 4 free sessions, and they really care about this stuff, and it's really impressive. Also, the education is like amazing. I can talk about my university.
Please
I'm
do.
so
Okay, I'll
with
tell
it.
you why. I recently had actually interviewed. Um, oh my God, like I'm so outing him, but like whatever. I guess I burned the guy, poor guy. Anyway, so he talked about the education. He studied political science in UPenn, which is an Ivy League school in the United States. And I asked him about what did he learn, what kind of skill set, what was the education like, and I wasn't too impressed, honestly speaking. So I really want to know what it is like here.
Um, Here, like, it's most of based on like research or like your opinions. Like, you really need to know what you study, and I study in Hebrew. It's really another struggle for me, but I can write in English and I can communicate with my teachers in English. But it's not like you study for exam.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's just it remains in your mind whatever you study, because you need to have some opinion about what you study. This is kind of the education we take here. And also, like, diversity is something I think so important, which we see here, and no one has like limit about what to say. And you can just you just have to communicate with other students that you're completely not agree, and you just have to work with them and like get along with them, and it just makes you understand them as well, like, in somehow, even though you don't agree with them, you can understand why they think like that. So it's just like really improves your like personal skills, and it's just like, for me, I have really good I have really good experiences.
And is it like that in political? Is there a difference between journalism class and political science class?
Yeah, I do double major.
Okay. So you talk? So what you described right now, was it political science or journalism?
Both.
Both. All right.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the two? So this is the general approach, but how is the material? Like, can you just tell us more a little bit?
Like, in political science, we need to read lots of articles, and it's just based on like mostly based on articles and research, and you need to have this ability to understand research or understand the articles and analyze them. Like, last year, my first year, I really struggled, because we were reading an article and I was like, they were asking me to analyze them, and I was doing that, and still my teacher was not happy about it, and I was just like, I really struggle how to do it. So in like after like many tries, I learned how to do it. And in journalism, it's more about media and like how can I say, like, daily media, like not just like TVs or radios, but also I'm sorry, like TikTok or podcasts, things that are young people are using right now. We are also taking classes about them, and it's just journalism are more practical, more, and political science more theory.
All right. So if you want, all right. So let's say you want to analyze the Trump meeting Giuliani. What's going on there? Why? What do you do?
Oh my god, I was not expecting that. Actually, I don't know. I was kind of upset because states they recognize him as a terrorist organization, a terrorist, and he, they wanted $10 million over his head, and now they're meeting, and they're, I don't know. It was kind of weird for me, and I think not just for me, like for most of the people. but probably Trump has something in his mind, and um, I think there are gonna be like multiple states in Syria, and Trump, it seems like he wants something from there. So we're just gonna see in time.
So, all right, so what kind of like, okay, so that happened.
Mhm.
Do you get, if you'd gotten homework from school about that topic,
Mhm.
what would the homework be like? What would they ask you to do?
Wow, it's a good question. It depends on the class, but uh, for example, in journalism, it could be something like how different medias presenting us this new. We had like multiple homeworks like that, like for example, Fox News and Sky News.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between two medias and how they're presenting this? I think it could be one of the analyzing and political science. Um, I don't know. It could be like from. I don't actually know.
So, the situation in Syria right now, for example, in political
Yeah.
science,
Mm-hmm.
what would it look like? Is that something that you would talk about? Like, let's say it's something you care about, someone cares about in class. What happens next?
About Trump and Jolani.
And yes, or Syria or whatever.
Sometimes there are discussions in class about that, and in our classes there are so many different opinions that, like, you can see far right, far left, pro-Palestinians, pro-Israels, and it can be really tense sometimes, but it's always like under respect, and no one gets harm or anything. So, and yeah,
This
like,
is from Arif. He's saying, "Stay strong, Turko. Love and support from India."
thank you.
Actually, and let me read Shana's tweet, and thank you so much for support, Shana. Would you consider moving to America or possibly working for an Israeli government with her skill set? I think she is clever and brave and will do well.
Oh, thank you. Actually, moving to America, something not I consider right now because I want to improve myself in Middle East. But in future, like, if I get a beautiful job opportunity, or yeah, why not? But for Israeli government, it really depends on the job. Like, I don't know. I like to be independent journalist mostly, and I don't know, like, working for governments in general is not something for me.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, I like to be independent, because in the end you're serving for like one political agenda, even though you support or not. I don't want to be framed like that. So I would like to be more independent, I guess.
Perfectly. Thank you, Shana, for your question. And you guys, if you have questions, please do ask. I think it's exciting. It's kind of unexpected. All right. Okay. So, but I do. Okay. So I'm guessing a lot of the journalist work, it depends later. Like it's where you get internship and who teaches you and things like that. It's kind of also that. But it's interesting to me to hear what it's like. So, do you get any assignments about current events?
Sure. Like, um of course we get like a lot. They're like specific subjects, and it's mostly like, okay, for example, Trump and Jolani, there's like one article, and that is not about that. There is about some other political idea, like philosophical idea, and you just need to interrupt that according to that political idea. Or like, and there's one political philosopher said something, or there's another event that happened close to what happened now. You just need to compare them. It's not like what do you think about that, but it's more like compare this event to this event, or like one political scientist say this, so make comment about it, or like you can tell your opinion, but it's not like what I think. It's more like according to this approach, and this so it's more like going on from one idea to one event.
And what happens if the professor says something that somebody disagrees with in class?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It happens. Nothing. It happens all the time. Like you can see, like you have a professor with kippa, and like it's obviously is right wing, even from the way he tells the class the lesson. One boy goes up and says, "Oh, I don't agree with you, and like you're completely wrong," and it's okay. It happens all the time.
And then what happens after that?
Nothing. It's just class over.
That's it? No talking? No debate?
Sometimes like students talks with each other, but as I say, there's no consequences about saying what you think. I never saw, like, literally. Like,
Okay.
I have one teacher in Mahina, and he was telling history of Israel, and he was a religious guy, and obviously he was Zionist, and we had Palestinian students as well with Israeli students, and he said, for independence war, I'm not going to call it independence war because there are some students here might get offended. And I was like so shocked, It was like an Israeli university, Israeli teacher, and obviously he's Zionist, but he doesn't want to call it independence war because some students can get offended or like get upset or something like that. So, and it was like my first year, and I was like, okay, is this the apartheid I was talking about?
And were you surprised to see that there are students that it's so diverse?
Let me tell you, my first day, I walk into a class and everyone just like introduced themselves, and there was one girl. She stood up and she said, I'm coming from Ramallah every day," and I was shocked because Ramallah is not in Israel. It runs by Palestinian Authority, and I actually Googled, like, I was like, is it in Israel or not? Do I know it right or wrong? And I learned that her education was paid by Israel or university, something like that. And like she has scholarships. And I was shocked because I can never imagine students from northern Iraq, Kurdish students, come to Turkish university and Turkish government funds them. That can like never happen. And I was like, there are actually like Palestinian students coming from West Bank and actually attending pro-Palestinian protests in university, in Israeli university, and it happens like almost every week, every 2 weeks.
And they argue, probably. People come and argue with them.
Yeah, like there are sometimes like things about when you study history or political science, there are things that they don't agree, and yeah, it can get tense, but nothing happened. And I had one more story. It's still like I couldn't get it after October 7th. there was a Palestinian girl in my class, and on October 7th, she posted a story that says, "It is the happiest day of my nation. It's the most beautiful day of my nation." And she just celebrated October 7th. And afterwards, all the students complained about her. They took screenshots and sent it to university. And she's still in class with me. I thought they were gonna expel her or something, but I heard that they said maybe she has a trauma, maybe we should send her some psychologist sessions, and they just warned her. But she's like, she still comes, she still gets scholarship from university probably. And I was just like shocked, because I don't know, it's like beyond, so much beyond from freedom of speech. And it's actually like danger for your Jewish students, because
Oh. Oh no.
it's just celebration of, I'm so sorry, my brother called me.
Okay, okay.
Wait, I'm so sorry. And yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. What about the other extreme? Like Israeli students who believe that all Arabs should die.
Oh, they were expelled like right away.
So they would expel those.
Yeah, of course,
Why?
because it's hate speech, like obviously, but also the other one is hate speech. But they're more tolerant to Palestinian students. I don't want to like generalize as Palestinian students, but like students are like, how can I say, more pro Hamas stance. I think there's more tolerance for them.
Interesting. And okay, so what about not saying all Arabs should die, but like being on the right? Like, where's the line?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Like, what's the most right wing or whatever, like, crazy thing an Israeli student can say? Because you said, like, okay, if you say all Arabs should die, that's no. But what's the most extreme
Yeah,
that you've heard? Or like,
from Israeli students, actually, I didn't even hear Arab students should die. I didn't hear that. It's just
so how do you know they would get expelled?
because because I know how my Jewish friends are, or I have right wing Israeli students. I know how they're sensitive about what they share, what they talk, and even like one like small speech can be a trouble for them. Like, I think it's something good. All the hate speeches
Yeah,
should
but is it
be
what happens? Did you see something happen?
no, because I didn't see any hate speeches from any Israeli students.
So this is your assumption that if somebody would say that, they would be kicked out.
Yeah. Yes.
But nobody tested that.
No, but I saw with my eyes the pro Hamas stance. It was tolerated. 100%.
So maybe the problem is that nobody tested that.
No, because as I said, I didn't hear any. Also, like, I think Israeli students are more sensitive, and because of, I think it's worldwide. And wait, I need to choose my words, but uh, like in worldwide, if you support Palestine and if you're using the word genocide, Israel committing genocide, all of your actions more tolerated, because you're seeing as someone that is victim And yeah, so with that girl, I think it's kind of like what happened. They saw her as someone comes from West Bank, Ramallah, and they said maybe she was traumatized, maybe she lost someone in her
No,
family in this conflict.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah, of course, I agree with you 100%, but this was the approach from university. If I
actually,
with her every day,
I don't hate that actually, to be
tolerated.
honest.
What?
People saying it's called double standards. First of all, like, I don't know if it's called double standards because there is a value in seeing what the Palestinians are like, and there is no a lot of, there isn't a lot of value on the other way around. Um, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, obviously people don't do that, so we don't know what will be the reaction. But it's interesting. I mean, it's genius in a way. I mean, I know it sounds like tolerance. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying like another way to look at that is that they leave them, and then the other Israelis can see what the Palestinians are really like because they speak so freely. And when it comes to when it comes to decision making, you know what you're dealing with.
Yes. So I don't know. It was like shocking for me. I was like, how can you like tolerate this? You know, and like she's not even Israeli. Like she comes here by choice. Choice.
Mm-hmm.
She learns Hebrew by choice. She comes to Israeli university by choice. She learns from Israeli professors Israel history by choice. And how can you celebrate Israelis' death on October 7th? And how can not be some consequences about that? Just I didn't understand. Maybe university has good explanation about it. Maybe I just
No,
don't
probably
know.
not. Probably they're just
Yeah,
stupid, but I'm just saying, even if they're stupid, sometimes people do stupid things, but there is value in that stupidity
yeah.
that you wouldn't get
Their
if you didn't have that
education.
stupidity.
Yeah. Otherwise, of course, I also have like really right wing Israeli friends, and sometimes I don't agree with them, but I can never see them posting something really full of hate speech because they know there's going to be consequences, or they know it's not right to share something like that.
Mm-hmm. You think that's why?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I just wonder. Like, I don't know if how much you know about me, but I'm very right wing.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You know, like I'm left, but in Turkish left and other lefts are a little bit different because our right is Islamist. So
So
we
yeah.
actually fight Islamists, and like European lefts, they're actually collaborating with Islamists. So it's something I don't understand. And this is the justification of Turkish Islamists because they say even Europe left is with us. Why you're so against us? So
Well,
I don't understand them. It's just for me, they're just like a bunch of people have has no idea about Middle East and uh just wanna live in pink clothes. They think everyone is just like so happy here and all the problem is Israel.
I think that's my favorite part is like people don't understand. Like if Israel disappears, this is where everybody's gonna be miserable for real. Like
Yeah, I think also Israel is preventing Islamists from Turkey as well.
they're
They
what?
would they will reach easier and faster to Turkey.
The Islamists.
Yeah,
How?
Israel stops them mostly,
How?
I think. For example, like all these organizations like ISIS or like Hamas, Hezbollah, they all they all can like um, have some kind of base in Turkey, but because Israel is like fighting with Hamas here, Hezbollah there, and other organizations, Islamic Jihad, it's just they cannot spread themselves easily because they have fear from Israel. And also, you know, like I grew up in Alevi communities, and in Syria, who was gonna protect them rather than Israel? Turkey has like 10 million Alevi people, and didn't even make proper news about massacre that Alevi community faced in Syria. But Israel kind of helped them with destroying terrorist organizations' equipments there and their army base there. And also Druzes in Syria. Who is going to help them rather than Israel? And who is respecting our secular constitution in Turkey rather than Israel in Middle East?
Hmm.
Like in Middle East, no one wants secular constitution because the people, if the people see a country that is secular, have human rights, women rights, and in Middle East, they were also going to ask that.
Mm-hmm.
This is what, and they don't want that. They don't want people to see how Muslims in Israel are happy and actually have rights, because they were going to ask from their dictators the same thing. So, like, same in Turkey. They don't want Turkey to be like so secular or like um, without all these stupid organizations, because their people also gonna ask that.
So you, but that is something that is regardless whether Israel is there or not, right? Because Israel is
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
so they're hiding
They just,
it.
they
But
just
without
don't want
Israel,
secular.
Islamism would take over faster. That's what you think. Everywhere.
Yeah, of course. This is why they say Israel is enemy, because Israel is a perfect example for a great democracy and diversity in a country. And what kind of dictator wants that next to his homeland?
So is the Turkish left, is it socialist as well? So you have the right Islamist and the left.
It,
What? What is the left?
in Turkey, left is more people who believe secular constitution, and it's one of the different thing that in Turkey, when I say I'm secular, I can also be religious. I just believe uh, religion and state should be separate, but I can
Right.
still be religious. I don't need to be um, I don't need to have like modern day life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But in what I see in other countries, when you say secular, you're someone is not religious, that you wear shorts during, and you know. But in Turkey, you can be secular and religious. So left is also like you can be right and secular. We have really nationalist parties, but believe the separation of religion and state. And but left is more uh, um, like economically more social democrat, believing more social democrat state, and believing like Atatürk. I think you know Atatürk, like Atatürk values, but we also have right wing Actually, Atatürk is like something common. Like forget about that. Like, except really far right Islamist parties, like it's something us, something belong to all the Turkish people. So like left is more like economically, like believing social democrat state and like believing LGBTQ rights and women rights, and it's just
But the right is also socialist because of
no,
Islamic laws.
no, no,
No,
no. Right is not socialist.
it's
They're
not.
nationalists. We have like two. I think I can
The
say we have two
Islamists.
types
I
of
don't know how
right.
to describe their economic system, but it's just stupid.
Yeah, one of them is like right wing, that is Islamist, and other one is right wing nationalities, like really nationalities. Like Turks are the best, and this is a Turkish country, and so we have. I can say we have two types of right wing, and these two types also don't like each other.
Right.
Because nationalist Turks, they also believe secular constitution, and they also like against refugee policies in Turkey, and they don't want Turkey to become an Arab country because we have our own culture and own language and everything. They think the ethnic and religion is separate. So because of religion do not make us Arab. We are Turks. So I can say Turkish right wing nationalities, just like that. But economically, they don't really believe like socialist or social democratic approach. They're like more liberal and like or capitalist values, but they don't call themselves capitalist because in Turkey, calling yourself capitalist is something shameful.
Oh,
I don't know why it didn't taught us as a good word. So they have their own description about what they believe economically, but they're capitalists.
so free market, but not capitalist free market, just free market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're more capitalist, I can say. And left wing, it's like more also like day life in secular, um, not really religious, and living in like the secular way, and also like economically like believing social democrat state, like that.
So you
And
have,
also
yeah,
left wing wants to see Turkey as a European country, not a Middle Eastern country.
right. That's interesting. And how do you see the Israeli politics then? What's right and left in Israel?
In Israel, um,
It's different, right? It's not the same.
different. It's really different. Like,
Oh wait, Dan Pollock, thank you for your support. Weird because Hans Hermann Hope lives in Turkey and he has yearly what? Oh, 1 sec, I'll tell you what he wrote. And thank you for your support in buying it. Weird because Hans Hermann Hope lives in Turkey and has his yearly talk in Turkey. I don't know who Hans Hermann Hope is. Do you know him?
no.
I should look it up. All right, but like describe the Israeli politics. Actually, let me just read one more super chat from Shana. Thank you. And then you can describe for us how you see the Israeli politics. It's interesting to
Yeah,
hear. So Shana is saying
exactly.
if Israel leaves, they will burn down the houses Israel built and then blame the Jews for the fact that they're homeless. Probably. Thank you so much, Shana, for your support.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'll look up Hans Hermann and you tell us
Okay. And
about
you
Israeli
know,
politics.
as a left wing Turkish person, I think I should support Israel because Israel actually have really strong left roots. Ben Gurion with Labour Party, and for years left wing was in charge for the country, and they have democracy, they have respect to my country, they have respect to my values, they have respect to my morals, my culture, my women. And so first of all, this is my general look, but when I go in deep with Israeli politics, like I think both, when you go far in both sides, it's never good. It's always missing like same I don't know how to say, like same nonsense things for me when it's too far, like too far left and too far right, and it's really hard to solve the conflict with them because it's too far and too strong opinions. But I see like here, like far left is it has, they have, like it's hard for me to understand them actually because because you know, you have like one side, you have a clear enemy that says they want to kill you, like clearly, and you just want to give them more, and you just want to support them. And sometimes it's really hard to understand for me. Like I can understand far left in Europe because they don't know here, they don't live here, they don't see the consequences. But here,
Oh, they
I
do,
don't
they
really
do.
logic, because like you're facing the consequences, you're facing the October 7th, and they have clear statements that this is their goal.
How many
They,
left wingers in Israel did you know? Do you know?
of course, like most of my friends. But
Really?
like, but it's also, I love to have discussion with them, but when it's not too far left, I can actually understand them, I can like agree with them in some points. And the right wing, I can understand why they're right, because we are talking about a generation that grows up with war and constantly attacks, and kids here, they don't even feel safe when they're sitting in bus station. They're afraid to have terror attack and everything. And a kid that grow up with this situation, you cannot expect that kid to be not right, you know, not be nationalities, and that have that instinct to protect his home and his country more and more, because he grew up with that fear and that situation that is need to be protection all the time, or you know. So yeah, but like with left wing, they also want to like live together with every kind of nationality in Israel, because they think like there's no other way, like we need to learn how to live. And this is like, and this is some like discussion that can take hours and hours, because okay, we want to live, like it's something that everyone wants, but does other side wants to do that?
Yeah.
We also need to like convince them, or um, improve another kind of system, maybe education system. Like I don't think every nation needs to be their own schools, or every nation should be taught according to their history. Like it's also like something weird for me, because Arabs, Armenians, or like Jewish students, they're learning other history from other schools. So I think it should be just one. How do you say that? curriculum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, and like yeah, exactly. Like in Turkey, no matter where you study, there is one way to teach history. But here, everyone hears from their own teacher that has um, different opinions about everything. And sometimes some schools, they really want to give you their own political agenda. And I think it should start from there, like from all education system, and like that Arab and like Jewish students can meet in some common point, or they can talk. Like it shouldn't be like separation. It's like, I don't know. It's also like something that proves Israel is not apartheid, because Arabs are having their own education the way they want, the language they want, and like it's not apartheid. But I think if we want peace, it should be other way around. They should be going school with Jewish students and learning together the same thing, the same history, and without political agenda or anything.
That would mean that they stop being Arabs.
No, they can still they can still celebrate their ethnicity, but
there are a lot of Jews who come from Arab countries, speak Arabic at home. So it's,
yeah,
so they're not. It's not the same.
yeah, but they can learn Hebrew. They live in Israel and hear the first language in Hebrew, like
I'm
in
just saying,
Germany.
like, you know what makes an Arab an Arab?
What?
The actual definition?
No, tell me.
Speaking Arabic.
Yeah. No, I'm not taking their
So I'm
language
just
from
saying,
them.
the moment you do that, what you described, they have to stop being Arabs, and they kind of stop being Muslims as well.
No, it's I don't think so. Like in Germany, the Turkish kids, they go to German schools. They learn German, but they keep speaking Turkish. They keep being Turkish. They identify themselves Turkish more than me, and they're still like nationalities and everything. And it can also be done in
So it
Israel.
doesn't solve the problem then.
No, but they will start studying together, and they will not learn history from a certain political agenda that is like pro-Palestine, and they will not learn Nakba, for example. They will say, we are Arab, we live in Israel, and yeah, that's it. And this is our history. But like I still in schools in Israel, actually in Israel, they actually like learn Nakba, and which it will.
I'm cooking gumbo right now for my sweet grandmother, so do not expect much from me. Also, what is it? Is it true? Let me see. I want to see that. It's too fast. This thing is too fast. I can't read it. Anyway, let me read Shauna is saying. 1 second, that Hans Hermann Hoppe is a very important thinker on the libertarian anarchist right. He's under the Mises branch. Thank you, Shauna. I don't know if you guys saw it. Wait, did it pop in? Here. Thank you, Shauna, for your support and help. So does he live in Turkey or something?
Don't know.
So, okay, so Dan Pollock asking, is it true that Middle Easterners develop major psychological problems when they move to the West? Like they cannot wrap their hands around the place?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's just, I think because when they moved to West, they don't wanna live where they come from, and it's something we constantly see. And they just want to keep having the life they had, and they don't want to they don't want to be Westerns, I guess.
I have
And
actually question for you actually. Okay, so you
yeah.
described the right in Turkey as Islamist, but you didn't describe the right in Israel as Judaists.
Yeah, here there are Zionists and also, of course, Lumit, like nationalities. I don't that. Yeah, religious, of course.
But do you
Maybe
know?
I should think about that. Thank you for reminding me.
I mean, it's just that Judaism and Islam is very different. Are very different.
No, it's different. They're religious, but Islamist is not religious Muslim. It's something else. It's something. It's something like attack you and prevent your life. You know. But religious Jews is something so different. Also, I told you, religious Muslims are not Islamists. It's completely different words. Here, like, of course, like every country, far right has like some really extreme religious people. But here we also see sometimes, sometimes, but and I compare it to Turkey, it's just because of the democracy here, the democracy culture, it's not really easy to be feared from one side. Because religious Jews are not coming and saying, I'm gonna cancel democracy, I'm gonna cancel everything you build, all the moral values. And even though you want to do that, you see lots of reactions from people. People just go out, millions of people in Tel Aviv Saturday night, and just they prevent you from extreme thoughts. They prevent your extreme thoughts to be real. But in Turkey or Islamist, the countries that Islamist groups exist, they just want to come and they're just going to come and change your life completely according to their religion, according to their belief. And there's only one truth, there's only one thing that you can think, there's only one way you can dress, and there's only one media, and this is what they want. But here, they're like religious Jews, and they have, of course, some askings to do for government, but as I said, it's not really easy. And they're not like, they don't want to say we want to destroy secular people, or we want to like cancel democracy, and we want to just bring one political agenda to this country.
Why do you think that is?
Because because of political Islam is built differently, and
Than
also
political Judaism.
Exactly, because political Judaism built it in democracy. It didn't
Political
come from
Judaism is democracy. Is more
exactly, exactly. It was happened, but political Islam comes from like Arab countries that has dictatorship, also like jihad mentality and Sharia mentality. It comes from like somewhere thousands years before.
All right, so God here disagrees with me, but thank you for your support, God. He's saying, I disagree with Rebecca. You can keep a piece of your identity and still strive to build a common story in the sake of the future. God, the reason you disagree with me is clearly because you don't know Islam or Arabism. That's why you disagree with me. If you know Arabism, what Arab identity is based on, and what Islam is based on, you would know that what you're suggesting is absolutely impossible. So that's it. That's all I have to say. I don't really, it's not about that. This stream is not about it, so I don't feel like going too much into it.
I think I agree with God, because, like, as I said, you, if you will keep having Arab schools with their own curriculum,
No,
and
I
with their
agree.
own,
No, he disagrees with me that that would make them stop being Arabs and Muslims. But that's because he doesn't know what Arabism and Islam is.
yeah, but I don't understand. If you go to school with Jewish people, how it can prevent you from being Arab, or it's like, I think
Because
here,
Arab identity is very weak. And it's based
I don't think it's really weak, because you don't see they change in Europe or America. They're changing
because they are
Europe
based on
and
Islam. But don't forget that unlike Europe that is secular, Judaism is built in Israel. So everything is Jewish.
yes.
So if you want to accept that history, you accept Judaism.
Yeah, as because history has one truth and one fact, and they should be taught that, and they should be taught, as God said, like common feature, as like common history. It cannot be two history for two sides. We should like prevent that. There is one history and one feature, and we should provide that. I agree it's hard, because they're extreme, and I don't think they will agree to have one education and like one history, that history we are talking about. But if they will keep learning one history and one goal for future, which is Palestine all over Israel, how we gonna live together and how we gonna solve this conflict? So it's really hard, I understand, but it
It's
should be a
because
way.
here's the
I
thing.
think,
If you choose political, you have political in Israel, it's as an Arab, right? It's either you believe in political Islam or political Judaism. If you believe in political Judaism, are you still a Muslim?
yes, there are also Zionist Muslims here in Israel,
Yeah, but
or Muslim
it's
people
like,
that says I'm Israeli Muslim, I'm Israeli Arab.
but they butcher Islam completely to do that.
No, they butcher the history they've been told.
Yeah, so they
And
butcher the Quran. They start the first history you have to butcher is the Quran itself.
No, Quran mentions Israel many times.
Yeah, but it messes up the history completely.
Like, I'm not
It's
really
different.
religious.
Israel is different.
So
Israel is different. I told you. You cannot have both. You cannot have both. It's either Jews, it's like either Judaism, and that's the truth, or Islam. You cannot, if you accept history, one history, you have to burn the Quran because it's bullshit.
like,
Because
I
this
don't know,
is
because
where,
I
if the
personally
Quran
find
talks about our history, the Quran talks about Israel and mentions Israel a million times. If you accept the Israeli version of history, you cannot accept the Quran anymore. That's what I say. You cannot, if you do that, what you suggest, I am for it. I'm for it.
Yeah.
But it's also like the real what it really means is Judaizing the Arabs in Israel.
Yeah, but I'm talking about mostly the modern day Israel. Like, talking about Nakba and like revenge and all this stuff in schools, it won't help you to live together and build something together. And
I'm with
The
you. I agree 100%.
yeah, but I tell you, it's hard. I think it's not even something we should discuss. It's something that's like psychologists or like sociologists, you know, like scientists needs to come and like do tons of research and like say this is the path you should follow. It's so much work, and it's not gonna. I'm telling you, it will take so many years. Like even in Turkey right now, like Ardan is in charge for like more than 20 years, and fix that is gonna take another 20 years.
Yeah.
So in Israel, it would take even more years.
But it's like you cannot be like, can you be Turkish and Arab?
No, I'm Turkish.
But can you be Turkish and Arab?
No.
So if you have one history, you're only Turkish.
Yeah.
But can you be Kurdish and Turkish?
No, you will be Kurdish that lives in Turkey.
All right. But what makes so? One second. Let me.
You will be Turkish citizen.
Yeah. Charlie Kanuk, what is your view on colonialism, historically speaking, from a Turkish worldview?
Colonialism.
What do you think about colonialism? Thank you, Charlie, for your support.
I think he's talking about, maybe he asked me this question because of Ottoman policies. Sure, but like colonialism is not something I can support, because I believe freedom of people and everything, and
So you're against. Do you think most Turkish people are against colonialism?
let me say, if you ask them, yes.
But if you ask them about why is Turkey in Libya?
Because word itself is bad.
Oh. So they're against the word, but pro the action.
No. I hope not. I'm not.
I mean, but Turkey is in Libya. Is it not colonialism?
I from the beginning I was against that. Like, why we are in Libya? What benefit we get from that? Or what threat we get from Libya and we went there? It's not even in the border. It's not even close to us. It's like, I agree with you, what we are doing there. Also with Syria. Why we involved in the first place? What we, like, now, what we gonna get from that? I'm telling you, nothing. It's just Erdogan is gonna make propaganda for himself, that now he's doing all this propaganda that I conquered Syria, I was in Syria, and like his sport is going crazy, all the Ottoman ideas. But no, nothing is gonna happen. So why we send our soldiers there? I mean, like, it's like my soldiers, and why they're in some other country's war. We just need to defend our borders. That's it. I don't wanna involve my country to be any country's failing or anything, any conflict, if it's not threatening me. Because we already have so many conflict going on in our own country. The economy is failing, everything is failing, and we have like priorities. We should focus on them.
Okay, so what do you think about the Turkish population in the Kurdish population in Turkey?
Like like, I love them. I don't know what to say. And I actually, like, years ago, I voted for their party. Like, it was like my second vote or something, like years ago, so they can be in parliament. When Selahattin Demirtas was in head of Kurdish party, and he is in jail right now. And so I don't know if he can specify the question, like.
So what about like the education system? So you like, do Kurdish people, do they have a different education system, different history?
Turkey, everyone has one education system, one book, and everyone learning the same thing.
Right. So what, but and then they have their own language that they learn at home?
Yeah, at home.
At home. So they just keep it at home.
And streets. But in school, the education language is Turkish.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and can a person be Kurdish and accept the Turkish history as true?
Yeah, if he wants to, yeah.
What do you mean if he wants to?
Like, this is what he learns. Like, the Kurdish person in East learns the same thing that I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when he grows up, he can criticize them. He can search more. I don't know. But he doesn't have to love our history as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
But we learn one history, and there is one history. And I know Kurdish people, like, they have we have like some disagreements about some certain stuff, but when it comes to education, I think it should be like one, like, because imagine if Kurdish people was learning really like extreme Kurdish political ideas, and how big conflict we could have.
So what makes somebody Kurdish?
The language, the family that it borns, DNA, the geography. Yes.
Geography. What they wear?
No.
So just basically language.
Clothes, but they can also be like me.
So why is there such a big distinction between Kurds and Turks?
When I grew up, I didn't know there's difference between us. I thought they were just calling themselves differently, because we grew up together and like we have almost the same culture. They just have like different language, but like for me, it wasn't something like you feel between Palestinians and Israelis. We were like much closer, but I think it started in 80s and 90s. There were like so much unfair things done to them. They were not able to speak their own languages in prisons. There were like horrible things happen, and this is how they start their fight with.
Why do they want to keep their language so bad?
Because it's their language. Like, would you give up from your language? Would I want to stop speaking Turkish? No. I can understand 100%. It's their language. It's who they are.
So you're saying they should learn the same history, but in Kurdish?
No. I mean, listen, we have French schools, we have English schools, American schools, Italian schools in Turkey, that they teach, for example, Italian, but same thing that I learned, but in Italian.
So they can do it with the Kurds, right?
If there's going to be Kurdish school, of course, I'm not against that. It can be. If we have French school, of course they can be Kurdish school. But I'm, as like other schools in Turkey, we should have like one education system. Like, and it doesn't mean that they shouldn't learn Turkish, because it's the main language. in order to continue their life in Turkey. You should like when you go to when you immigrate to Greece, you need to learn Greek to have better life. Like here, I learned Hebrew to have better life and easier life. So of course they should speak Turkish because it's country of Turkey and everything goes in Turkish, not like Israel. We don't have like another lines Arabic. We only have Turkish. And so, but if they want to have a Kurdish language school, it's okay for me because we have French speaking school, Arabic speaking school, English speaking school. So yeah, why not Kurdish? But they all are private schools, so they can have their private school too, with learning the same thing that kid learns in West. So West and East won't have some separate history or separate feature. We should like meet in common.
So, what are the Kurds insisting? How come they didn't assimilate completely into the Turkish population? Is it because of geography or?
Yeah, like yeah, the Kurdish population is like really like strong there, and like also like in Ottoman, like Ottoman actually didn't really ask someone like nationalities to assimilate to Turks, like, and so like there was never a Turkish state that asked them to be assimilated. Maybe, as I say, like maybe 80s and 90s they were really like oppressed, and this is how all the conflicts start. But rather than also they have most of the population in East, so they were living together, and they were just like, it's why would they assimilate, like.
So just they want to keep their culture, but for that, like they have to have like a double education system.
Not double, same education system.
Same education. Okay.
Yes, because it's Turkey. There's one state. We don't have states like America. They're unitary. I don't know how to say unitary. Like there's one country, one language, and one education system.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know which other country like that. Maybe Greece.
Okay, so basically Kurds need to be Turks.
No, this is not what I say. They can be Kurdish. I have no problem with that. I voted for their party and I went to protest for them. They should be Kurdish. They're one of our beauty. They're like one of the beauty of Turkey. I love Kurdish people and they should keep being Kurdish, of course. But what I say is we need to, like, I just support the one education system that applies for Turkish or for Kurdish or any other national nations in Turkey. Like, because we are not separated country.
Right.
And we cannot be separated. There's one country and everyone can keep their nations, and I want Kurdish people to keep their culture because they have an amazing culture, and just we need to learn how to live in Turkey.
Okay. Poor Kurdish kids, they're gonna have to study double the time. They have to study Turkish culture and Kurdish culture. So they have like double the hours.
You can say the same thing for Arabs here.
No, Arabs,
But
this is why they learn. This is why I said it's like if you're gonna have the same one, and with Arabs it's even more obvious than Kurds.
yeah, no, it's just Look, in their home, Kurdish people are so like free. Of course, they can speak to Kurdish or whatever in street, but in constitution of Turkey, there's one education system,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Okay.
says it should be applied in every school, private school, state school. It doesn't mean you need to change your culture, and it's not culturally. There we have math. That math needs to be learned the same, teach the same thing from east to west, the same math, and you Turkish literature class and whatever, and history and philosophy and other social science like that. It doesn't. No one asks you to be Turkish or like assimilate yourself to Turkish. We also have like Syrian refugees. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna have like different history for them. Like 10 million Syrian refugees, and they have millions of kids. They're going to school. What are we gonna do? We're gonna like have different history classes for them? No, they study in Turkey, and Turkish ministry. Even though like I don't agree with like whole curriculum in Turkey, but Turkish Ministry of Education that I don't like right now gives you one curriculum, and that says every school in Turkey needs to follow these instructions. And sometimes it's really controversial, and I don't agree with that. And like we discuss a lot, even for Turkish students, like sometimes it's really controversial, and I don't want like my niece, my Turkish nephews, to be learn those stuff as well. But there is one education system, and it doesn't mean that someone needs to assimilate.
Okay. I mean, just uh I don't have a say, just saying that. Like it would be really hard to stay Kurdish if you study in Turkish and history of Turkey, and then you have to work really hard to keep it in a separate language and
I
defend it
don't know what's
all.
the difference. Turkish history and Kurdish history. It's happening same geography. Same geography. Yeah, and I don't know. I will try to study Kurdish history, but I don't think I'm gonna see something different.
Okay, so no, I agree that you can have the same history, and it doesn't have to be contradictory. But when it comes to Israel and Arabs and Islam, if you teach the history of Israel, then you remove Islam. We cannot keep being Muslims. That's it. How in the heck did my country, USA, manage to do what everyone else wants to do but can't do? So actually, the United States was very smart with all the measures it took to unify the different languages and people that were in the US. One is that they had like one moral system, the Constitution. Another one is, for example, Webster, the Webster like dictionary, where they canonized how you spell every word because they assumed people would even fight about that if you don't spell everything the same way. And but I think it just had like a very clear vision of what it wants the state to be and what kind of values, and unifying the languages. But even in the US, like you still have a lot of like different communities. It just tolerated it. It just tolerated the different communities and everything, as long as you accept the American Constitution and value system and stuff like that. So, yeah, the Webster. So it like and to be honest, like there are still like a lot of tensions between groups in the US, right? But it's like built around mostly like the American myth constitution, things like that. And unifying like the language, I guess, took some time. In English, I'm not sure how English took over, because obviously there were French colonies, Dutch colonies, like New York was Dutch. But it somehow turned English, but I don't remember exactly the history of that. But Miami is Spanish now, still part of the US. But here's the thing, if you accept the American Constitution, you can't be Muslim either. It contradicts Islam fundamentally. So, are you here? I feel like I'm talking to myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So the thing, like Islam, like you said, like Islam, if you believe in Islam, then you cannot believe in a constitution.
If you believe in Sharia,
But
Sharia laws, yeah, you
so
believe
you can
Constitution.
you think you can be Muslim without believing in Sharia?
Of course. I have lots
So
of
what does it
friends in
mean?
Turkey. I told you, they say I'm Muslim, I practice Islam, I pray, I fast during Ramadan, but I believe separation religion of state. But there are other Muslims says no, I believe it should be Sharia law because my religion tells me to um, help other people to come to Islam more and more. So
Okay. So if
you
you're
can
so
be
you can be
secular.
culturally Muslim, right? That's what you're saying. Just like
No, you can
praying,
practice.
but not
You
believing.
can also you can practice Islam. You can believe is like I have friends. Like it's not something I do. I don't practice, or my family don't practice. But there are lots of people in Turkey identify as Muslim, identify as religious, and they practice, like I see from my own eyes, but they believe Constitution and they respect Constitution and secular Constitution, and they think religion shouldn't be involved to state because we in person saw how it can be dangerous because you cannot compete with religion as politician, and it doesn't bring equality for everyone, and it just brings you to conflict. And so of course it's just a mindset, it's just a mindset. You can be Muslim and still believe Constitution, but if you're Sharia follower, no, like not every Muslim is same, not every Muslim is like extreme, but yeah, if you believe Sharia law, it's you can respect Constitution that you're living, like the country you're living in, like you have to, but believing Sharia means you have to bring Sharia wherever you go.
Okay, so you can be a Muslim by, you say, if you pray and if you celebrate the holidays.
You can be Muslim, like I don't know, I'm not like a decision maker. Like you can say I'm Muslim, I feel like a Muslim, and you don't have to practice. You can say I'm a Muslim, I practice, or you can say I'm a Muslim and I want Sharia to come. It's just really something personal. I cannot identify what is Muslim. It's something personal and individual, and person itself should identify for itself. I cannot decide who is Muslim, who is not. But
Okay, so I'm
it's just
Muslim.
about my. Hmm?
I'm Muslim.
You're Muslim?
Yeah, I identify as Muslim now. I like,
What is Muslim for you?
what is Muslim to me?
Yeah.
Well, listen, if Adam was Muslim and Moses was Muslim and Jesus was Muslim and they all were Muslim, I must be Muslim too, so that's Muslim. Like all my ancestors were Muslim, so I must be Muslim too, right? That's the thing. Like
No,
my answer, like Jacob was Muslim. Jesus was like Jesus who shouted all over the place that he's a Jew was Muslim. So I must be Muslim because that's how it works. I am Muslim.
I don't know. I'm not a religious person, and I don't really like educated.
So we agree, right? I'm Muslim. You're Muslim. I'm Muslim.
If you
so good.
identify as one,
I mean, according to
how can I
why not?
prove that you're not?
How? Why? How can you prove I'm not?
Like I can't. If you say you're Muslim,
Exactly.
you are.
I'm a Muslim. That's it. Religion assembly, press, petition, speech. What is it? Anyway, yeah, no, I said it. I even made a video saying like the most, according, if you actually follow the logic of Islam, you know who is the most Muslim? Jews. Jews are like the genuine Muslims, and everybody else are imitating Jews when they say they're Muslims. No, really, if you follow Islam, this is like the Jews are the most Muslim then. Like, business was almost always done in English. Spanish will probably become Spanglish, just like German and Yiddish words get added into our language. Yeah, yeah. A mix, a salad, a shake. Thank you, Shana, for your support. It's back from the time we talked about English taking over. Yeah, anyway, so I'm Muslim, right?
Sure.
Cool. Cool. Just like Jesus was.
Nice name.
Me and Jesus, we're Muslims, the same, just this about like perfectly Muslims. Every Muslim says that Jesus was Muslim, and I can tell you that Jesus and I are about like we are 100% the same level of Muslim. So
you're also Palestinian, I
so I'm
guess.
Muslim. You know, Jews are the Palestinians, really.
Yeah,
you know,
of
like
course. All the heroes in history.
I mean, until 1964, every time somebody said it's Palestinian, they meant a Jew. No, really, historically speaking, Palestinians are Jews.
Ah, yeah.
Really. If you go to history books and you read and you see Magen David, so yes, I am Palestinian.
This region's name.
I just think that Palestinian is a colonial name to what I am, so I prefer calling myself Israeli. Right? It's like
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, it's like somebody saying like if somebody is American, right? But they're Native American, they are American, but they also can say that like they're I don't know, like and their own name of the tribe, right? Like what are you like? And when like like if the Native Americans take over, then like I mean they were. It's difficult because they weren't like one nation. But let's say like the Inca, right? So you're gonna ask somebody like the Inca are taking over Peru, and the Inca are the majority in Peru, and they decide to be like, you know what, like Peru is a nice name, but we prefer like to call the country, I don't know, like Inca is the colonial name actually, but I don't know, whatever, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I am a Palestinian, but I prefer the name Israeli because Palestinian is the colonial name of who I am.
It was a perfect explanation, actually.
Yeah. So yes, you asked me if I'm a Palestinian. I am the OG Palestinian. Yes. Like our ancestors, like, you know, the Israelis, like it's like you go to what is the Palestinian soccer team, is the Jewish soccer team. But this is a colonial name for us, right? So it's either like we're either Judeans, like Jews, Judeans, it's the same. It's the same in Hebrew, it's like, you know, it's Judeans and Jews is the same. It's the same word. It just like it has two, but it's the same word. And you Israeli, like, which is how Israelis decided to name themselves, like, because there was like a debate, right? They thought maybe we'll call like the Israel would be called Zion, or, you know, Judea, and then they settled on Israel. But it's all,
Yeah.
but it's all the same. And yeah,
This is
and we are the Palestinians. It's just that it's the colonial name of us, for us, which is why it's so ridiculous to hear all this free Palestine. Like, we are Palestine and we freed it, and we decided to change the colonial name to the original name of the indigenous people. That's it. It's like we freed Palestine. Palestine is the colonial name. This is what it's like. It doesn't free Palestine, and then we name it like it's named in the Quran, Israel. You know, like it's named in the Bible, Israel. Govan, I hope you can do another collab with Ape and David Wood again sometime. Confident missionary defenders Israel in the world. Indeed, yes. Thank you so much for your support. I hope so too. I also tried to contact Ridvan to see if he can help Turko here, because he is Turkish. So see if he, because like to see what's his opinion actually about what's going on.
Yeah.
Because he had a similar situation and he took like lawyers and stuff to like consult.
And he's really like brave. He's really strong about his
So
opinions.
I kind of wanna hear like what he would like from
Me
his
too.
yeah. So this is why I asked him. But you guys go like if you go to his channel, tell him to answer my message, because this guy, he answers when he's when he wants to, not always. But yeah, so yeah, you asked me if I'm Palestinian. I am, but it's the colonial name of who I am. It's like, you know.
It's a perfect explanation. It's something they're not teaching in Arab schools.
This is why you cannot have Arabs and Islam together with ours, because they took our history and twisted it to pretend to be us. But it's either you choose to be us, and then you have to believe the Bible and not the Quran, because this is the fundamental difference between us. The only difference between us is whether we believe in thou shalt not murder or kill the infidels wherever you find them. That's the difference between us. Here is, let me see what. Thank you, Dan Pollock, who says, I'm with Becky on this one. My ancestors crucified a lot of people to change the name of Israel to Palestine. And I don't take it kindly to anyone who ignores my ancestral bloodlust. That's the only thing. I need to read it again because I think I didn't give it enough the honor it deserves. So Dan Pollock here, buying a book, thank you, is saying, I'm with Becky on this one. My ancestors crucified a lot of people to change the name of Israel to Palestine, and I don't take it kindly to anyone who ignores my ancestors' bloodlust. Yes, true. So this is why, like, Palestinians are Jews. And the difference is that there came a colonial power with the Arabs who forced their Arabic and force their stupid Quran on the people who live here. And then they believe that instead of thou shalt not murder, you know what is the most common command in the Hebrew Bible, in the Torah? The number one command?
What is it?
It repeats 36 times. It is protecting minorities. But in Islam, you are obligated to kill minorities if you follow the Quran. You cannot have both. If you call yourself a Palestinian, you have to erase the original Palestinians. That's what they're trying. Why do they try to kill us? Because we are the Palestinians. We are the people of the place. And speaking Arabic, that's colonialism. And believing in the Quran is colonialism. This is not the scrolls that were written and hidden in the Qumran caves were written in Hebrew, and they had the commandments that Jews believe in.
Like, I don't know.
So you cannot believe in the Quran and speak Arabic. This is colonialism. And Palestine is also a colonial name, but it was the colonial name that was given by the Romans. So they're not even like the Romans. They're like, so it can't be. It's just, it's either us or them. That's it. Because you cannot have both histories. It's either you believe in the 10 Commandments and protecting minorities, or you believe that you have to kill minorities. You cannot have both. You cannot have both.
I think I cannot agree with that because it's such a strong comment. Like,
but that's the reality in Israel. You say that, but you know why? Because you are, as a Turk, you don't speak Arabic, so you don't read the Quran, and this is not yours to begin with.
Yeah, but and also like, I don't know, I need to see like and also like claiming all Muslims that they're gonna kill minorities. It's a really strong.
This is what the Quran says. The Quran does not protect minorities.
I agree with that because I'm all for common feature and I'm all for everyone lives together. And
so you have to accept that I'm the Muslim, I'm the true Muslim, and I'm the true Palestinian. And you have to choose. Are you the kind of Muslim that believes in protecting minorities, or are you the kind of Muslim who believes in killing them? You cannot have both. And if you choose to protect minorities, congratulations, you chose the Torah. And you are not Muslim anymore. Like, not the way the Quran describes Muslim.
Like,
but if you take the concept of Jesus was Muslim, then sure, really, I'm Muslim.
Really, Arab Muslims, they like live in Israel peacefully and like
they're not
serve for Israeli army, and you cannot claim that they're not Muslim or they don't follow Quran. They pray.
They don't. They don't.
They do. No, I cannot agree with that with you. I have personal friends and like.
Yeah, but they cannot do both. Not really. But then there is two different stories, but one is a lie and one is the truth.
I don't know. I cannot agree with that. It's
you do not listen. It's just the way it is. What is Judaism?
You tell me.
Judaism are people who live by the rules of the Torah. The rules of the Torah are the rules of the land of Israel, written in Israel, for Israel. It understands the Israeli land. It says how to tend the ground because it understands how the ground in Israel needs to be agricultured because this is where it was written. It says what your constitution is. It's everything that we are is from there. Everything we believe in. It says when it says choose life, even if life is hard and cursed, you have to choose life. It's everything. It's who we are.
That's really nice, but like claiming that all Muslims and like Quran is like killing minorities and it's all
But
about
that's what the Quran says.
Don't
This
comment,
is
and I
the
cannot agree. I have an
only reason
amazing.
you think that way is because your culture does not fundamentally clash with the Quranic one as a Turk. But my culture, because it, like again, like they say they're the Palestinians. No, the original Palestinians believed in this, and that. If you don't believe in what the original Palestinians believed in, what the Jews believed in, then you're not us. You just pretend, and you try to bring your stupid ideas that were written in a stupid desert people to
Like
us. That's
if you
it.
were like talking about one specific extreme group, okay, but like talking about all
No, the whole
Muslims, all
Quran, the whole
like
Quran,
that, like they're
the whole
all, of course,
Quran does
like,
not.
are up
Did you
for
read the Quran?
no,
Read it.
but
Read the Quran and read the Bible, and you understand what I'm saying. You have to read it.
um, I have to call my mom. It's really late, and
Yeah,
she's
no
waiting.
worries. Listen, I understand your position because you're Turkish, but
Okay.
for us it's different.
Okay. I'm gonna check what you said, but still, I cannot agree with stereotype one race or one religion because I don't know.
Read the
But
Quran.
thank you.
Everybody in the comments are saying, please read the Quran, read the Quran, read the Quran.
Okay.
Really, you should read the Quran. People
Okay.
are saying
But
until they read it, they will never understand. And it was like, yes, read the Quran, read the Quran, read the Quran. You have to
okay.
read the Quran.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you for
really
being here. And guys, follow Turco and everything. Like even if we have disagreements, right, or whatever, that
of
doesn't
course
mean
we
we shouldn't help
are.
her. Okay, we're learning from each other, and it's like if somebody is in trouble, it doesn't matter. We help them.
Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and
Of course.
goodbye.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right, everybody. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, I understand if you come from Turkey. No, I think she's cute. She's cute. No, I understand how you can be Muslim if you are not, but not really Muslim. You know what I'm saying? It's cute. All right, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I kind of wonder if you have any last comments. קראנץ', תקרא את התנ"ך כפרה, אתה גם לא חוקי, סליחה, מה זה אומר שכל 7 שנים צריך להיות לך שנת שמיטה, וכל יובל יש לך גם, זה חוקי אדמה, לך תקרא תורה ותלמד. Sorry guys, that was Hebrew. Like Crunch is just a very uneducated Hebrew speaker. Turkey is going downhill. I'd like to visit it though. You know what? I knew that Turkey is going downhill like 10 years ago, and I was like in my mind, maybe I should go visit it before I cannot. Now I cannot. But I know that moment that I wouldn't be able to is approaching. But I don't know. At the same time, I was like, not too much in a hurry. Anyway. La la la. You need to understand her position. I understand her position. I understand. And her position is the reason our world looks like shit. So why would I on the American college to this Trump? For sure. Hong Kong, yeah, that's so sad. Right one. Hong Kong went downhill. So it is. That's like tragic. It is tragic, honestly. Ay. למה שאני אענה לך? אתה תקרא תנ"ך, ואז דבר איתי. כרגע אתה לא ממש, אין לך מדבר איתי. הנה. All right, that's it. No. I thought you would discuss about Trump in the Middle East. Yeah, I have a lot to say about it, to be honest, but next time, sometime. I took to a different turn. Actually, I had fun having that conversation. The most interesting thing to me was to compare how the Israeli education system is done, which is better. It is better, but it still is important to understand how fundamentally different Judaism and Islam are. So that's important. Okay. זה רק סדר 1-6. אתה מדבר על מה, כאילו מסכת זרעים וכאלה? כאילו... בסדר, כי היה את הגלות ושטויות כאלה, אבל יש קשר גם לקרקע. What the fuck did you just say to me? What did I say? What are you talking about? I don't know. No, it's just the Israelis are saying like, oh, like how to tend the ground is not such a big part of the Jewish education or system, but that's because like of the exile. It was a huge chunk of what Judaism was, but because of the exile, it became smaller because it became irrelevant. But that doesn't mean it's not there, you know. Doesn't mean it's not there. Just doesn't make sense. This is why you have Masachtot and like Mishnot that are written in the Talmud Yerushalmi that have to do with how you tend the ground that are not written in Talmud Bavli. So you have things that in the Jerusalem Talmud that don't appear in the Babylonian Talmud because of the sections in Judaism that talk about how to tend the ground and things like that, and were irrelevant for those who were in Babylon, and it was relevant for those who were in Jerusalem, but the Babylonian Talmud is the one that became a lot more widespread and famous, and a lot of those things weren't even known, right, until much later. So it's the Jerusalem Talmud is a lot less studied than the Babylonian Talmud is. So, yeah. Yeah, Rabbi, check out Mansour and Khalifa talk with some bridge builder Muslim gaslighting them about Islam for an hour. Yeah, I don't know how they do that, honestly speaking. Like, I understand, like, a person that... I understand this perspective if you... For a lot of places in the world, they didn't have a constitution. Not really, right? So every constitution they had was colonial. So Jews had their own constitution. So because of that, if you have something like the Quran, it becomes colonial. And people who are the Arabs who bring their constitution, that's colonial. But Christianity and stuff, like, it spread as a religion, and people didn't perceive it necessarily as like their constitution. It is sort of, but it's not really, like with the Roman Codex and stuff like that. But Judaism is that, right? So it's either if you accept the Jewish constitution and way of thinking, then you cannot be Muslim. And and actually I have proof that you cannot even be Christian, but it's more complicated with Christianity, so I don't want to talk about it right now. So yeah. And also Judaism is extremely flexible, right? It has flex periods. So it's not as like Skitter, it's cool. I don't get the joke. I guess it wasn't funny. Thank you for your support. I don't know what you're talking about, honestly speaking, but thank you. I like Jesus the Jew. Yeah, Jesus the Jew was a Muslim, so I'm a Muslim. Anyway, Islam breaks down here. That's the thing. It breaks down, okay? The Jewish people had their own belief system, constitution, laws, and trying to trample that is colonialism. And if you are like some people, like the Mongols or the Turks, like they had like a minimal codex, like like when I went in Peru, there was an island with Native Americans, and they literally, like, what was their constitution? They had 3 items. Don't lie. I remember don't lie. Don't steal, and just 3 things, okay? The whole thing was 3 things, okay? So if you bring a Quran to that, which by the way tells you to lie, but so it's problematic, but they only had to give up on 3 things, like not lying. So it's not like such, but if you bring a Quran to Jews, then they have to give up the whole system. It's too much. So you can feel like you can be Native American, like you keep everything else and just accept the Quran, then it's not a problem because you only had 3 laws to begin with. No, they don't have don't kill. Don't kill, they don't have. Somebody's saying there is don't steal, don't lie, but there is no don't kill. Don't kill was not one of them. I don't remember the 3rd one, but it's not kill. So yeah, that's it. All I have to say. All right, everybody. Good night. Thank you for being here.